Hey everybody, it's Preston here, aka Godzilla Hawk. Excuse me for a minute. Throat's a little dry. Sorry about that. Hey everybody, it's Preston here, aka Godzilla Hawk. And this is going to be your Hell in a Cell 2020 review. I'll be talking about all the matches on the show. I'm going to rate all matches and then I'm going to overall rate the show. If you already know me, you know I review shows by match quality and all that on every match. So just because we have 3 good Hell in a Cell matches, that does not automatically make this show an A minus. So, excuse me. So I'm going to be rating the show with every single match. So I want everyone to clarify that. So if I give a certain grade to the show, don't be surprised. You should all know this. This is how I grade. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get the show going. So we had 3 Hell in a Cell matches. I hate the whole I hate the Hell in a Cell gimmick pay-per-views. I hate it to whatever fiber might be. It just kills the stipulation, the whole point of it. But you know what? Whatever. I got other things to complain about. So, let's go ahead and open up with Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso in the first ever Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Which now, if you want to, you can also add strap match to that match because a good portion of this match was a strap match. So, there's something you can look at too. But, the one thing I will say that each of these Hell in a Cell matches were different. The Universal title match, which was the opener, was going to be more story-based. The women's match was going to be more competitive, personal. And the McIntyre Orton one was going to be more brutal, violent. That's kind of how I figured. Well, all 3 of these Hell in a Cell matches were going to be different. It wasn't going to be the same Hell in a Cell match. All of them were going to be different in their own way, and unique in their own way. I guess it just depends on which Hell in a Cell you thought was better. Which one did you enjoy the most? Which one did you think told a better story, had better impact, better result? I'll answer that in a little bit, but we'll go on with this opening. So this opening one is not 5 stars. I've seen people giving this 5 stars. No, no. But it was very good. As a Hell in a Cell match, it was not the best, but this was not your typical Hell in a Cell match. This was a story-based match. Roman just wants Jey Uso to call him the Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns is the Tribal Chief. He wants to be the head honcho. He is the top heel. He wants everybody basically bow to his feet, and Jey refuses, and he wants this title match. The interesting point of this was I quit match, which means you have to, in order to lose the match, you have to say I quit. So the star of the match was both of them were going at it. They were hitting spears, splashes. They were whipping each other with a strap. They used the chair a few times. They used the cell. So they were beating the crap out of each other for good 15 minutes this match. 15 minutes this match, it was very competitive. It was back and forth. The last, I would say, maybe 10 minutes or so, that's what things got interesting. From there, Roman just kept on destroying Jey. He was pummeling Jey, trying to get him to say, I quit. Jey refused. He was barely conscious. He couldn't say anything. Roman was getting furious. Telling Jey, you're making me do this. I don't want to do this. And all that stuff. And Jey was just barely cautious. And Roman Reigns was just beating the crap out of him, using steel steps, using the straps, chairs, and he just beat him up. And it came to a point where the referee was like, dude, just stop. This is your cousin. What are you doing? This is your family. You're beating this guy to a pulp. Stop. I honestly wish we had blood in this match. If there was blood in this match, it would make this way, way more dramatic. I miss blood in Hell in a Cell matches. I really do. It just makes things more personal, makes things more dramatic. I think that would make that. Well, honestly, was probably the only thing missing from this. If they would have had blood, it would have just been top-notch storytelling. But you see the referee's like, I gotta ring the bell. I can't watch Jay. And Roman's like, no, 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 no. You don't get to throw the match. Jay didn't say quit. Throws the referee out, and Commissioner Adam Pearce, like Saw Monster would like to say, which, by the way, I'm wearing Saw Monster's new shirt right now. Excuse me. But we see referees, we see Jamie Noble, and other producers come out, and Adam Pearce like telling Roman, like, dude, stop, just end the match. It's over. And Roman's like, no. I'm here to make Jay quit. He grabs the steel steps. It looks like he's going to crush Jey Uso with the steps until Jimmy runs in because the door got open thanks to the officials. And, they're telling like that. You see Jimmy, he's just all over Jay. He's like covering. He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? It's over. Just stop. He's done. And you see Roman crying. He's conflicted. He's apologizing. He's saying sorry. And he didn't want to do this. And Jimmy and Roman, they do that Arnold and that Predator arm shake, you like to call it. You son of a bitch. You know what I'm talking about. If you've seen Predator, you know which one I'm talking about. So they're doing that. They're bracing each other. And then Roman just locks in that Dragon Sleeper, that guillotine hold on Jimmy. Jimmy's he's struggling to try to get out of it. Roman's not letting go. He's squeezing tighter. And Jay starts waking up. And he realizes what's going on. And he just quits. He just says, I quit. Stop. Leave him alone. I quit. So Jay quit, not for himself, but he quit for his brother's safety. And you see Roman walk out with the championship. He's got a smug look on his face. See his father and his grandfather come out, awarding him, naming him Tribal Chief. You see Jimmy and Jay, they're just in distraught. They're upset. And Roman Reigns holds the title straight in the air. That's basically how the match was. Like I said, in terms of a Hell in a Cell competitive match, it was that for 15 minutes, but then the rest of it was just more story-based. This was good. This was not great. If you love this match, that's fine. I'm not going to hold that against you. I can understand why. But I like my Hell in a Cell matches a little bit more vicious, more competitive. And like I said, there is one Hell in a Cell match that actually brought that to the table, which I'll get to. But for storyline purposes, I figured this was great. This was good storyline heat on Roman to give Roman that mega heat, make him this evil bastard. So now the Usos have to work with Roman. Roman tells them what to do, and they have to do it. Otherwise, the Usos are basically banished from the whole Samoan family. They're no longer part of Roman's family. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. But Roman retains, which is, I think we all figured. I think he's going to hold on to about at least WrestleMania, if not longer. Jey Uso is not the person to beat Roman Reigns. Let's be real. There are other people that are more worthy and more realistic to win. I'm still going to pick Big E to fight Roman at WrestleMania. I think that's where they're going to go to. But we'll see what happens. Anything's possible. I don't know. They can even do Bryan and Roman at Mania, which would be interesting. But Roman Reigns wins, and that's about it. Match was good, but the storytelling was what sold it. So then that's what I figured this match was going to be. So it's going to be more story-based. And that's what it was. Next, we had Jeff Hardy and Elias. Long story short, TV match. Jeff Hardy hits Elias with a guitar, gets himself disqualified. That's literally the match. There was nothing exciting about it. There wasn't anything. It was a filler match. Let's just be honest. This was a definition of a filler match. Next, we had Miz versus Otis for the Money in the Bank briefcase. There's going to be a lot of problems we're going to have with this. I'll explain them a little bit later. But because you guys are so smart, you guys might figure out some problems with this. So we have Otis and Miz. The match, again, TV match. It's just filler. But, you know, it is what it is. You see Morrison. First of all, Morrison shaved. He was looking a lot younger, which is weird. I've never seen Morrison shaved his beard since, what, his Nitro days or early Morrison days back in, what, 2009? So it was weird seeing that. But Morrison tried to get involved. He got kicked out. And it looks like Otis is going to win. He's going to beat Miz and retain his briefcase until Tucker hits Otis with the briefcase. Miz covers, and Miz is new Mr. Money in the Bank. Due to interference by Tucker. And then Tucker was backstage, and he was like, well, why did you attack Tucker? Otis, he's like, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the fact that I had to keep holding his hand. It was always about Otis and never about me. You know, I gave him all the confidence in the world. I got him to ask Mandy out, and I got nothing in return. I was just going to be the guy that was just going to be forgotten. And Otis came out of the attention. Otis came out, attacked Miz and Morrison, and then went after Tucker. 3 problems with this. First of all, what was the point of giving Otis the Money in the Bank briefcase then if he was just going to drop it to the Miz? No, seriously, what was the point of giving the briefcase to Otis? This is almost like when they gave Baron Corbin the briefcase. He had it for a couple months and then he just got screwed over when Mahal beat him. Or when Braun Strowman won and he lost the opportunity in a no contest in Hell in a Cell. What was the point? No, seriously, what was the point of Otis holding the briefcase? Okay, he was not going to win the championship, but what was the point of him holding that briefcase if he was just going to lose to Miz, of all people? Second problem. You gave it to the Miz. Now, if this was the Miz a couple years ago, especially 2016, 2017, when Miz was red hot as one of the top heels when he was holding that Intercontinental Championship, you know that run back on SmackDown days. If it was that Miz, I'd be fine with that. But it's not. It's the Johnny Drip Drip Miz. The Miz that's cutting terrible promos, too goofy, too silly, horrible dialogue, and I didn't like a total just goofball. This version of The Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank now. Nothing? Figures. And now third problem. Otis and Tucker are now rivals. Now this would be fine if they're on the same brand. But they're not. Otis is on SmackDown and Tucker's on Raw. So former tag team partners now feud when they can't even touch each other because they're on separate brands. How's that work? Actually, and now there's 4. Because now you flat out split them up now. Not just draft-wise, but now you legit split them up as rivals now. That's yet another tag team gone. That's 4 problems after the result of this match. There was no point in giving Otis the briefcase to begin with. Miz is now holding a briefcase, which is not even the good Miz. It's this corny, over-the-top, cringy version of the Miz. Now, Tucker and Otis are in a feud, which they can't even feud because they're on separate brands. And they are now 100% split up as a tag team. It wasn't like there were 2 tag team guys that were just split, but they were still best friends. No, no, no. Now they're full-blown rivals. They hate each other. So again, another tag team gone. Seriously, I would love to see. I know there's probably a few people going to explain this to me. I got a few people watching in the chat. Don't be shy. Seriously, tell me about this. I know there's got to be one person that's probably out there saying, making some sort of excuse or whatever you want to say. I'm looking at this going like, what was the point of this whole thing with Otis? And of all the people to give the briefcase, why Miz? Especially at this stage of his career. Seriously. Someone answer these questions for me, because I have no idea what's going on. Just made no sense for Otis to get the briefcase. That whole word with Otis winning the briefcase was all pointless. It wasn't like he cashed in and he lost. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I first thought that was stupid. But now we move on to the second Hell in a Cell. This was my match tonight. It was Sasha Banks going one-on-one with Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship inside Hell in a Cell. I'll say this, I do wish they kind of held this match for WrestleMania. I think it would have made a bigger deal. But if there are other plans for WrestleMania with Sasha Banks possibly, I'll be all right with this. So this was Sasha's third Hell in a Cell and Bayley's first. This is the closest thing we got to what Hell in a Cell should be. Personal, competitive, and violent. Now, there was no blood. I mean, blood on women, I mean, you could take that for multiple meanings. But this was the most competitive. And this, in my opinion, was my match tonight. I thought, I don't know if this was better than Sasha and Becky last year. I have to watch kind of both of them back and forth. Kind of back to back to kind of see. Because Sasha and Becky Lynch was great last year. And this one was great too. I guess it just depends on your perspective of things. But these two women beat the shit out of each other, and I thought they had a match of the night. The creativity, the sunset flip into the buckle ball in the cell, the ladder spot where Sasha jumped off and hit Meteora and hit Bayley to Bayley on the ladder by Sasha, counts of Meteora. Seriously, I swore she did like 10 Meteoras in this match by Sasha. And the candlesticks, I do admit the one really big gripe I have with this was there was a lot of candlesticks. It kind of got annoying. But, they used fire extinguishers, they used candlesticks, chairs, a ladder, briefly used a table. They didn't break the table, but they used it in offensive ways. But these two just went at it, and they were just beating the crap out of each other, kicking out. They were taking abuse. Until Sasha hits the the bank statement, but she uses the chair to wrap it around Bayley's head, and while she's got her locked in the hold, kind of similar to what Sasha did to Bayley at Brooklyn when she was using her free foot and stomping on Bayley's hand so she couldn't get to the rope. She was using her leg to stomp on the chair so it would squeeze Bayley's neck and head. Until Bayley had no choice but to tap. It was too much, and Sasha Banks is for the first time in her career, is a SmackDown Women's Champion, and altogether she is now if you count the NXT Women's Championship too, she is now a 7-time Women's Champion. Now, what happens next, I don't know. Usually Hell in a Cell is usually when they end feuds. But I have a feeling this feud's far from over. That's the problem. Because here's the thing, Sasha has a history of winning titles, but never successfully retaining them. So there is a possibility, whether it's Survivor Series or whether it's the next pay-per-view, we could be seeing Bayley and Sasha Banks in a rematch, and they're telling a story that, yeah, Sasha won the championship, but is she going to retain? Because she has a bad history of retaining titles. She can never retain a championship. So there's that story they can tell. So they could have a rematch. It could happen. I mean, there is even a possibility they could still possibly even do a match at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Bayley can always take time off and return at the Rumble and win the Rumble, challenge Sasha Mania. I don't think some people are thinking about that, but again, that's kind of a possibility. There are some people throwing around the idea maybe they do Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks can't talk today at WrestleMania, which, I know why people really want to see that match. They're very similar characters. The movesets are different, but I can understand why people want to see that match because their gimmicks are so similar. They all think they're the best. They have this cocky, smug attitude about themselves. But this match I thought was easily the match of the night. In my opinion, I thought it was the most competitive, the most vicious, the closest thing we had to a real Hell in a Cell match. Next, we get an Improv United States Championship match. Yeah. Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack. I'll give you one guess what happened in that match. I'll give you a hint. It's what happened on Raw. Lashley basically destroyed Slapjack in a very botchy 2-minute match. Tapped out Slapdick. Retribution came out. And all ran away like a bunch of cowards. If WWE's goal is to try and make Retribution a threat, a legitimate threat, they're not doing a good job. You know what? At this point, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Retribution is being buried on purpose, to be made look like a joke on purpose. I wouldn't be surprised if Vince heard people complain about Retribution and then want to see more Mustafa Ali. So they're like, oh, fuck it, let's just bury them. There are rumors that Retribution were supposed to get a big Survivor Series match and get a big push. I don't buy that now. I don't think there's ever coming back from this group. I think at this point, this group might as well just be a comedy group. They just come there to lose. Seriously. Seriously. Retribution is just a joke group now. No one's going to take them seriously. There's no coming back. How you redeem this group? And poor Mustafa Ali. You know, I'm a huge Mustafa Ali supporter. Now, I thought he got paired with Retribution as a leader. I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be a change of direction for him. They might actually start training this group seriously. Nope. There's still a bunch of clowns with stupid names being pussies and being bitched out by guys like Bray Wyatt and Lashley. Not threats whatsoever. I'm kind of done with the group. I'm kind of done with the group. I don't think there's any way you could save their careers at this point. I think they're all screwed. They've done too much damage to these guys. I don't think there's any recovery. And I feel bad for every single person part of that group. Because they're all talented in their own way, and it's not fair to Ali. Main event. McIntyre versus Randy Orton in the Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. Definitely the most vicious brutal match of the bunch, but I still prefer Bayley and Sasha Banks. We see Orton try to attack McIntyre early on before the match even started, before they even got inside the cell. Excuse me. And basically they brawl, they use the cell a lot, they beat the crap out of each other, then Randy Orton got some bolt cutters, he cut his way out of the cell, they brawled it outside for a bit. Orton climbed the cell, they scaled the cell for a little bit, fought in there for a bit. Orton climbed down, and he shoved McIntyre off the side of the cell, through a table, took a nasty bump. They made their way slowly back inside the ring. Claymore kick. Orton ran out, rolled out of the way. McIntyre looked like he was going to go for another Claymore. Orton dodged, RKO. Orton's the new champion. Kind of Cliff Notes version of it, but that's basically what it was. The match was good, but Orton winning the championship. Look, and I know some people are going to go out and say, well, Orton needed a win. He's been losing a lot. Yes. But did he really need to win the WWE Championship? I'm just, why? You know what, scratch it. I know why they're having Orton win the championship. It's because they're going to do Orton Edge at WrestleMania for the title this time, which Orton Edge does not need to be for the championship. McIntyre is the new star. Why the fuck are they not building him up? I would have kept that title on him, have his reign continue a little bit longer. Now, me personally, I would have had, if Edge comes back sooner, I would have done Edge and Orton before Mania, have Edge win. And I would have done Edge and AJ Styles at WrestleMania personally. I would have AJ be the one to dethrone McIntyre for the championship, because that's a fresh match. AJ, once he becomes champion, and we do Edge and Styles, which is a match that both men want. It's a fresh match for Mania, and if you want, you give Edge his title, his championship back at WrestleMania. Give him his good feel moment. But we can't have nice things. We gotta do Orton Edge. Again, more likely at Mania, and this time it's gonna be for the championship. I understand we gotta have a third match because they're tied, and we know Edge is not done with Orton. My problem is, though, you sacrifice McIntyre's push so we can get a feud that really is not about titles. That feud does not need to be evolved about the title. Now, let's be honest. If they do this, what are they gonna do with McIntyre? Maybe he can go after the United States Championship, but at this point, you might as well just go to SmackDown. Because unless they're planning on putting the title on him back soon, which again, that would also be stupid because there would be no point of taking the title off of McIntyre to begin with. Just this whole thing it doesn't feel right. And what was more upsetting was when that 3 count happened, I didn't get angry. I just shook my head and just went, fucking course. I'm done with Orton being a champion. If he's going to win a championship, have him win a mid-card title. But don't have him win any more world titles. I am done to death with Orton and world titles. Orton does not need a world title anymore. If he wants to win a championship, have him win a tag team title. Have him win the Intercontinental Championship again. Win the U.S. title. But he does not need the big Universal or WWE Championship anymore. I'm done. No one cares about him being a world champion. I don't. But again, I know why they're doing it. They're going to do Orton Edge. They're going to have Edge have his moment by being Orton for the title. But again, like I said, there's no point of doing a title match. Because the feud is not about a title. It's more personal than that. It doesn't need the title. Look, Orton and Edge would be a bigger match. Yes, I understand, but you can have that be in the middle of the card. You don't need that to be one of the big drawing matches for a world title. You don't. But what are you going to do? I mean, I was in the wrestling business until I got fucked over. As of right now, I'm just a fan doing reviews and giving my honest opinions. I thought the match was good, but the result was the wrong decision to make. It was the wrong move to make. Now, I admit this didn't piss me off as much as Charlotte being Rhea Ripley. That was fucking bullshit. But this was just a letdown. This was just disappointing. This was just WWE being WWE. That's all this was. This is just another WWE move that they do that just goes, well, of fucking course they did this. But that's basically Hell in a Cell. So the three Hell in a Cell matches I thought were good, and besides the result of one that did bring the show down a bit. And you got three other matches that were all just made no sense being on the show. See, this one's kind of tough because you have 6 matches, but half of them weren't even good. 3 of them were actually very good, except one that had a really bad result. So it kind of downplayed that match a little bit for me. I really want to give it 5, but it didn't anger me as much as a lot of other pay-per-views. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. That's being generous. Because if I feel like if I go lower than that, it's not accurate. But even giving it 6 is not being accurate either. It's somewhere like between a 5 and 6. Even 5.5 wouldn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right to me. So, again, I gotta give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's the best thing I can do, because otherwise it'd be a 5. But like I said, it's not really worthy of a 5 out of 10, but even then, a 6 is really pushing it too. So that's kind of my thoughts. So tell me down below, guys, what you thought about this show. What did you think was match of the night? Possibly next review will probably be Full Gear, AEW's Full Gear. I think that's November 7th, right? Yeah. So that'll probably be the next pay-per-view review I do will be AEW's Full Gear. I'm actually looking for that show a lot more. So we'll see what happens, how that show plays out. But that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and end this off. So